Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Divine Cupid podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, India Watson, and if you're not new, welcome back. In today's podcast episode, I'm going to be giving you guys a skincare routine, and I'm also just going to be talking to you guys about some of the things that I feel like I have been kind of thinking about and journaling about, and things that I just want to put out on my podcast. So I hope you enjoy this little TED Talk. I feel like alone sometimes, and I think that's a very hard thing to admit, that there are moments in my life where I do feel alone, even though I know I'm comfortable with loneliness. I'm not even loneliness, but I'm just comfortable being alone. And I'm grateful to be one of those people who I can celebrate the blessings that other people receive without looking at my life and feeling like inferior or insignificant, or like I'm not going to receive that. But I do feel like, wow, I feel like it's gonna sound stupid, but sometimes I feel like our society has encouraged us to settle. That it's like, would it be okay to have something in comparison or in contrast to having nothing? I think because I've worked a lot on myself and the way that I feel about myself, my self concept, my self esteem, like loving myself a lot more, that my biggest standard in my own life is to never feel the way that I felt ever again in a lot of my relationships and experiences with people who are no longer in my life. I worked really hard to kind of tackle forgiveness with people who have hurt me, and I really worked to tackle forgiveness in myself for being naive and stupid in a lot of places in my life where I thought I would receive love by settling for either lust or some insignificant companionship. And I know our society really encourages and influences that. Like, hookup culture is a really big and prevalent thing, but I just think that it's like, when you think about it from an outside level, it makes sense. You're lonely and you feel alone, so why not settle for the people who want to have pieces of you? But I look at myself and I'm like, I am a whole person and I deserve a whole thing. There's so much value to me that I can't let intimacy just be the only thing that someone wants out of me. And even when you think, because the way that you see intimacy, I also believe is the way that you see love. How can you have something so intimate with someone that you don't love? I think in any experience, when you're just dealing with someone who doesn't know you on that really deep personal level, is just very unfulfilling. But there's also just a lot of fear in vulnerability, but I hate that there's not enough fear in physical vulnerability the way that there's fear in emotional vulnerability. I don't shame anybody or any part of my life or anybody else's life, because I feel like I've been in every single boat in every single position to where I can understand and I can see. But I feel like, why be with people who don't fully care about you and love you the way that you deserve to be fully cared about and loved? I think I do struggle sometimes with just being okay with being alone, specifically when it's a Sunday, babe. I just am like, wow, would it be nice to watch a movie with someone? But even then, I have so many issues and problems with hookup culture and that kind of atmosphere, because we are so used to just being like, yes, this is your body, girl. Put your needs first, put your body first. If you want to do it, do it. Baseline. But it's like, when you're sad, what do you do? When you want someone to talk to, if you can have all of these intimate moments with people who, is something that you feel like you're putting your body and yourself first, which is totally fine and that's totally okay. But it's like, what about your emotional needs when you want those to be met? Who is in your life meeting them? I look a lot about my life at 18 and 17, and I hate a lot of the ways that I acted and moved and did things out of validation. And because I wanted to be loved, I moved in a way that kind of screamed, I need someone to kind of pour into my cup and give me what I can't give myself. Loneliness is a very hard feeling to tackle, because there's someone that, I think we all just want to have someone who is exclusively for us, and someone that we can also just have a lot of comfort and just being in a silent room with. But when you're doing a lot of things that kind of like dysregulate your nervous system and make you question all the things that you feel and know about yourself, and the certainty and the assurance that you once had in yourself, I think puts you in just a negative slope. I think we look at a lot of our experiences, and we look at a lot of things in our life, and we have this like fuck it we bomb mindset and this fuck it do it anyway mentality, that it's very like self-harming to the way that you could continue to grow and like navigate your life as a person. I think we're just very reckless with the way that we want to live our lives, and I think sometimes that mindset, because like I said, I've even been in that boat to where it's like, wow, is it better to just go back to something temporary because I'm just too uncomfortable waiting for something permanent? And even the things that are permanent in our lives aren't necessarily guaranteed to be a permanent thing forever. I think there's just so many things that we need to kind of like question in ourselves before we just put ourselves in these potentially harmful and emotionally damaging positions to kind of compensate for the fact that we want love. We need to just learn to stop settling for lust. And I think that's something that I don't think I try to push on other people or even like push on myself. I think it's just like my standard in my life is I don't want to feel bad about myself. I don't want to feel low. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to put myself in a position to where I'm settling for something knowing that I deserve more. And I think that's something that I've just really wanted to talk about, because I think that's something that I just really need to like speak out into the world, is that, you know, we deserve more. Women deserve more than the things that they settle for, more love than the lust that they are so willing to accept. It is so important that you just have a solid foundation in yourself and not look for men to make your foundation solid.